Hi, my name is Kat, Read a Free Librarian, and welcome to a new reading blog. So today it is Monday, it's about noon, and I wanted to start this vlog for the third week of the Get a Clue Readathon, which is a readathon hosted by Rainy over at Rainy Blue Reads. And the room we're currently in is the dining room, and the prompt for the dining room is to read a book that have friends or family as a center. The family can also be found family, and so the book I'm reading for that is a book that, from a quick glance on Goodreads, does definitely have a found family element, and that is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Sutanto. I'm a little over a third of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. I was worried about this book going into it, not worried, nervous, because I tried reading Dial A for Aunties by the same author, and I couldn't really get into the writing and the tone of that one. So I was a little nervous starting this, but I'm happy to report that I'm actually not, I don't have the same issues. So in this, we are following Vera Wong, who is the owner of this Chinese tea house, and one day she finds a dead body in her tea house. But the police is totally incompetent, obviously, and who better to solve a murder or a mystery than a suspicious Chinese mother with too much time on her hands. So she decides to just stick her nose in everyone's business, as she always does, and she tries to solve this murder, and she has this very older Chinese woman feel that is very hard for younger Asian people to say no to, because we have a lot of Asian characters in here, because the tea shop is in Chinatown, San Francisco, so we have that. Most like the suspect and stuff like that are Asian, in some way, different parts of Asia, but still. And so yeah, I can definitely see the found family, because she's kind of she's kind of creating a found family with her suspects, which is kind of funny. I could definitely see the start of that, which is kind of fun. At the start, I didn't love Vera's character, and I didn't love being in her POV, because she is so sticking her nose into everyone's business and being kind of judgmental and stuff like that. And I still don't love it, but I don't dislike it as much as in the beginning. I'm fine with it, now that I'm a couple chapters in. We have multi-POV story, which I'm not sure that I'm loving the switch in perspective in this, because the different perspectives are the different suspects. I think if they wouldn't be directly involved into the case, because you have the found family element, as I said, and so it's those characters, and I think if they wouldn't be directly involved with the case, or not so clearly directly involved in the case. Think Thursday Murder Club. I think I would have liked the multi-POV element slightly more, but now, regardless of the outcome, at this point in time, I think that either outcome, so whether it actually is one of these people who did it or someone else, I don't think I'd be happy with that, because it is one of these people. That means that some of them, in their own perspective, are lying or withholding information from the reader, which I wouldn't love. And if it's someone else, then like, like we're being told that these are the suspects and that these are like the only suspects, and then suddenly like, oh no, it's this completely other random dude. Um, that would be, I wouldn't love that. But then again, there was still like quite a bit of time to introduce another suspect early enough that that could work. So yeah. I'm gonna see how it goes. I don't really have a main suspect at this point in time. Um, but yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. It is not a new favorite for me at this point, but I like it. I like the found family element. So I definitely want to continue reading, and it reads pretty quickly, so I hope to finish it before the next room prompt drops, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because in order to stay like on track, I believe the next room should have been dropped yesterday. If you want to stay like on track with, on average, how many days you would get for every room. So I don't think it's gonna take very long until the next one drops, but at least I kind of caught up in the previous vlog. If you haven't seen that, you can, see me try and catch up to the room we're in. So yeah, I'm gonna be continuing to read this today whenever I need a break, because I'm gonna work on my bachelor thesis today, and I'm gonna get really annoyed at other people who don't communicate, which isn't related to my bachelor thesis, but that's gonna happen today too. So, if I need a break, I'll read like a chapter or two of this, and then make some progress that way. And so I will talk to you when I have a new update. Bye. Hi, it is Tuesday evening, and I'm about 2/3 into Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and I'm really enjoying this so much. Like, I feel like I'm enjoying it more and more the further I get into it. It is just such a quick and easy read, and I really like these characters and the dynamics between them. The found family element in this is just great. I love it. When I last updated you, it was mostly Vera who is kind of forcing these other characters together, but now it is more like everyone just, like, even without Vera's interference, people are like, doing stuff together, helping each other with things, all that. I also mentioned earlier that I'm not a fan of the multi-POV aspect of this. And I think that right now I kind of am. Because I think it's kind of fun. They each have something to hide, like a connection to Marshall or whatever. Marshall is the guy who died. Um, they have something to hide in regards to this case. Um, but like they're all onto each other. And I think it's just so much fun to see that, and I love their dynamics, and I love um just like Emma, who is a little girl in this. She's a daughter of one of the POV characters, and actually Marshall's daughter. Um, and she starts off as like very shy, never wants to talk to people, clings to her mom desperately type of child. And she's just blossoming now that, um, certain people are in her life who are just, like the right people are. Um, and, it's really beautiful to see, and I'm really liking it, and I'm just it's so great and so much fun right now. I don't have a suspect at this point in time. I really don't. I have no clue who did it, but I'm having a great time with this, and I might even finish it tonight because it reads so quickly. Um, and it'll just be nice to just sit here for an evening and just read and not worry about anything else, which is kind of what I need right now. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll talk to you tomorrow with hopefully an update that I finished it and that I loved it. But so yeah, see you tomorrow. Hi, it is Thursday, and 2 more rooms for Get a Clue Readathon have opened. Well, one was technically already open when I finished Vera Wong, but I figured out I wanted to finish that first before starting a new book. And then I woke up this morning and there was the next one. So the room that was already open was the billiard room. And the prompt for that I'd actually predicted. And so I already knew before the month started that if I was right and that it would be what book I was going to read for it. So I don't have to do options. The prompt is a book with like a game or competition element in it, and I have an arc that fits that prompt that comes out in the second half of March, so I technically could have pushed it to March, but I'm happy to get to it early, and that is To Avenge a Fallen Star by Qilanna Quinn. This is the first book in it's a sci-fi romantasy, which I'm not sure if that means that it's a sci-fantasy world or that it is just like set in a sci-fi world, but like because we have a general concept of what romantasy is, we sort of use that word to describe the mixture of, in this case, sci-fi and romance. So we'll see when I get to reading this. It is about this young woman who lives on a planet that used to be like a prison planet. But the people sent there have gotten children, and so she is a descendant of someone who has been sent there for crimes committed. But that means that she is technically also trapped on this planet. The descendants of criminals can gain freedom from this planet and just full citizenship in this planetary system if they complete a set of trials. And so that's where like the game competition element comes in, because I think that trials also kind of fit that. And our main character's sister has participated in the trials before, but she died during one of them. And so now our main character is out for a revenge, and she enters the trials to avenge her sister. And so I'm pretty sure that she's gonna meet her love interest there, and it's probably an enemies to lovers, because that's what a lot of romantasy is, or seems to be. But yeah, I am quite excited for this. I'm so excited for this book. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be, there are a lot of people on the stairs. I'm sorry if you can hear them. I'm really excited to start this. I'm probably gonna start it tonight. So yeah, that is To Avenge a Fallen Star for the billiard room. Then the other room that was opened was the study, and for that I needed a book recommended to me by a friend. And actually I'd already started a book for a different vlog, because like in the background I've been working on another vlog as well that is gonna come in the first half of March somewhere. And so I had one more book to read for that in February, which I started actually 2 days ago. And I thought, you know what, I'll just slowly chip away at it. And you can count books that you've started before a room starts if you haven't read more than 50% of it before the room opens. And so that was the case. So I'm counting it for that prompt because it was recommended to me by a friend. But I'm not going to tell you what that book is, and I'm not going to tell you what that vlog is because I want to be secretive about it. But so know that I'm reading something for that. I'm just not going to give you any thoughts on it or even tell you what book it is. But so far I'm enjoying it. That is all I can say, and other than that, you'll have to wait for that vlog. So I don't know actually if I'm gonna be able to start to Avenge a Fallen Star tonight because I want to read like the first chunk of that other book for that other prompt, and so that is actually the one that I'm currently focusing on because I want to be able to finish that particular vlog in time. And so yeah, but I'll definitely start to Avenge a Fallen Star in this vlog, definitely. But so yeah, that is what I'll be reading now. There is 2 more rooms that will come after this, which will be the library and the hall. And there is one more book that I kind of needed to fit in somewhere, or like because it's an arc of a book that comes out on March 1st, and so if I want to read it in advance, I would have to read it somewhere in February. So I hope, fingers crossed, that one of those 2 prompts will work, and if not, I'll just have to read it in the background, and that's a shame. I don't think I'll read fast enough to be able to submit it as a bonus book unless I put in some comics, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so these are some books that I will be reading this week, or the rest of this week, the rest of this video. So yeah, those are my updates. The day after tomorrow, so on Saturday, I don't know if I'll update you tomorrow, but on Saturday, there is a giant book sale at my country's, like chain bookstore, like my country's version of like Barnes and Noble or Waterstones or something like that. They have an annual giant like overstock sale where everything is half off. So I'm going with a friend, so I might buy some books this weekend. We'll see if I find stuff that I find interesting or not when I come home with, but I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna buy at least like a few. Also, another friend who wasn't able to go, she gave us a list of what we need to look out for. So we're gonna go home with a couple things, and I'm really excited for it. So yeah, that is everything. I am going to get food because it's dinner time, and I don't have anything to cook, so I need to run to the store and buy something that I can make for tonight. But yeah, that is everything, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so I really thought that I had filmed the clip when I finished Vera Wong, but apparently not. So let's do it now. Final thoughts on Vera Wong, which I finished a couple days ago. I ended up really liking this in the end. So let's just start from the beginning. My first update, I was telling you that I didn't really love the character of Vera, um, which was definitely true at the beginning. But it's not like she changed a ton, but just she wasn't in situations where this type of behavior annoys me as much. I feel like there were some actions of her that I really did not. There was especially one choice of something that she does that I really did not like, but I can't really tell you what it is. Um, yeah, just I don't. I'm like, why? But yeah, in other parts, throughout the biggest portion of the book, she didn't annoy me as much as at the beginning. Um, and especially with the found family and seeing how other people are sort of being affected by her in a positive way, and like blossoming, I think is a word I used, um, because of her influence. And I did like that element, but I still don't love Vera as a whole. So yeah, that's a little. I just feel a tiny bit conflicted on that, and that is like the one thing that would make me hesitant to read the second book. Um, because I'd kind of the last update I gave you, the 2/3 update, I'd kind of forgotten it because we got a lot of the like positive influences and the found family and whatever. But then the thing came that I said earlier I didn't like, but I don't want to spoil. And I just remember like, oh gosh, Vera, why? Um, so yeah, I don't know. It is a quick read. It is fun. Um, and I really love the found family element. I ended up liking the ending. I think it was it was pretty much the only conclusion that would have been fully satisfying in a book like this, or not even fully satisfying. Um, that wouldn't be a huge disappointment in a book like this, and I think that might be the reason why I guessed it, was because like I there were a couple of things that you just at a certain point can't really oh, how do I say this without spoiling it? Like there was really only one option left, um that would feel appropriate for this book, let's put it that. And so because of that, I kind of guessed it. I mean, I guess part of it, and I guess the whole thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. While I was reading it, I had a fantastic time, especially like the pretty much after like the first update. It was really fun, and I really, really enjoyed my experience with it. But with a little bit of distance, I still like it, but I don't know if I love it, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, I think that's my verdict with this one. I think that I will wait for reviews
of the second book before trying it. And pay attention to certain words that people might be saying to determine whether I want to continue or not. But yeah, I don't know. And I'm actually kind of glad that I'm forgot to film the update and I'm doing it now because I feel like with some distance my perspective on this book has changed a little, and I was just, yeah, the ending, parts of the ending I liked, parts of the ending I did not like at all. So yeah, that's Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murders. I'm so bummed. Because as I said, like, while I was reading this, I had a great time, and like, right after finishing this book, I was like, oh my god, this was really fun. But now, I don't know. So, yeah. That is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. I don't know when I'm gonna read this yet. Um, you'll see it in my wrap up. I'm gonna have to think about this. I still have a couple reviews to write. I'm gonna try to catch up on reviews this weekend. But then, yeah, that is my thoughts. Okay, bye.
Okay, so it is now Sunday, and I am 37% into To Avenge a Fallen Star. This is so very fast paced and very action packed. Like, it's trials, and if you want the trials, you're like getting the trials. Um, and they're following each other relatively quickly. Like the pacing is very, very, very fast, which I can see why. Um, it feels like as a reader, you don't always have a lot of breathing room between the action bits, between the different trials, but then our character isn't getting any breathing room either. So I feel like it's appropriate just for my personal preference. I prefer things to be a little bit slower um, because that makes it easier for me to get really invested and to get to know the characters, which at this point feel a little underdeveloped, and especially our main character, I feel like. There are some of the side characters, and I'm like, yeah, sure. But the main character, I'm not fully sure that I know who she is. Um, which then also goes into the romance part of this, where I we're told that there is attraction, but I don't see the attraction there. I don't see the connection and the romantic tension between her and the love interest. And that's just a bit of a shame because romance is an important part of the plot. Um, I can tell you that sci-fi romantasy, it is like just a straight up sci-fi world. At least at this point, there hasn't really been any magical elements to it. Um, but so yeah, still that romance is a pretty important component, and then for that to not feel very natural, it's kind of a shame. Um, so yeah, I'm enjoying the plot though. It is quite brutal though. So check content warnings. There are content warnings in the front of the book. So you know, you have that, but some of the things are quite brutal. But then also, the narrative is kind of telling us that this is brutal and this is not okay to do to a person. And I'm like, you don't need to tell me, like, if you're literally torturing a person, like, I can, like, I can also see that and think, oh, maybe that's not something that we should be doing to people. You don't need to, like, explicitly tell me that. Um, it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. And then also, there was one instance where they said, like, oh, how could anyone do this to people? Where, like, a few chapters before that, something that is quite a lot worse, in my opinion, didn't get that comment. And so that was a little weird, like, why did the previous thing not get that and this one did? Like, either do both or do none of them, or do, like, the worst one and not the lesser evil of the two, which is still not okay, but, like, you know, there are levels in not okayness. So that was just a little bit odd. But yeah, so mixed feelings. Also, our main character, basic main character, I think we're supposed to believe that she's very smart, and the author is showing her making plans to try and show her how smart, how smart, yes, how smart she is. But then, like, the plan is laid out, and I can say from the second, like, yeah, this is terrible, and this is not gonna work, and this is the flaw in the plan. And then it goes wrong, because sure it does. And there are other instances where I'm like, the second we're getting into the situation, I'm like, oh, this is how you could get out of this. But then they don't see that, and I'm like, but there's such an obvious solution to this, and yet we're not seeing this. But then there's other instances, you make this super convoluted plan that I can see going wrong, like, straight away, and we're supposed to think that you're very clever and strategic. I don't know. I'm having very mixed feelings on this. I am enjoying the trial aspect of it at this point, and it's entertaining and stuff, but it's not going to be no favorite at this point. So yeah, a little sad, but I will continue this. It's not very long, so you get through it fairly quickly. But I'm slightly disappointed. I was so excited for this book. And this is my second arc this year, and both of them have been quite disappointing, so I'm really sad. I don't want to dislike things. I just want to, if I could like every book I read, that would be just perfection. But that's just not how the world works, apparently. Anyway, in slightly better news, there was a giant warehouse sale at, like, sort of the Belgian equivalent of, like, a Waterstones or Barnes and Noble. And so I went with a friend. There were a couple books that was interesting that we found, but a couple of them I could get from the library fairly easily, or they were just, even with the giant discount that we got, were still cheaper to order them online. So was like, let's not, or like hit a couple that were just a little too far in the series that I hadn't started yet for me to justify buying them. So I ended up buying 3 things. One of them was just a notebook from a brand that I like, and I didn't really need a notebook. I didn't go in expecting a notebook, but I saw that this brand was there, and it's a slightly more expensive brand for a notebook, so if I could get it at half price, that is very nice, because I know I'm gonna use it because I love this brand. And I got one like fiction book, which is The House of Always by Jen Lyons. This is book 4 in the Chorus of Dragons, and I just said I didn't want to get books that were too far along in the series, and so was really hesitant on whether I would get this because it is book 4. I couldn't see any of the other books in the series there, so if they were there, they're probably already gone, or you know, I just didn't see them because there were a lot of books, and just not a lot of organization with books, or they just never, it never was there in the first place. But the thing is, I really want to try this series, but they don't have it at any of the libraries that I'm a member of. And I just know that this is a series that you know, if something is very popular enough, I see it enough to remember, like, oh yeah, I kind of want to read this. Maybe I should buy it. Whereas this one, I really want to read it, but I keep forgetting that it exists. And so if I can have this book to remind me, hey, the series exists, so next time you go buy books, or like you consider buying a book and you're deciding what to get, maybe get the first book in this series, and hopefully I like it and I could continue on. You know, that is sort of a thing, because I know that if I didn't buy it there, I probably just would never get it. Just being realistic, so I decided to get it to Remy, and I'm excited to start the series, but obviously I'll start with book 1. But yeah, I now own this, which is fun. And then the other thing I got was a coloring book. It is called Happy Days, and it is just, I'm in love. It's absolutely stunning. Like, I'll show you some of the pages. It's like these very intricate designs that are gonna take me forever to do them, but they're just so incredibly pretty. So yeah, that is the one I got, because I love coloring every once in a while. I think it's very relaxing, and yeah, I just really like it, and so I got this coloring book because, you know, sometimes you just want a variation in the coloring books that you own. So yeah, and it was half price, so that was really nice. But talking about coloring, there was actually a coloring page that I did a few weeks ago that the more I look at it, the more I love it, and I'm just absolutely obsessed with it. And so I need to share it with like everyone I can, because usually when I color, I do it with like pencils, but this was the first time in years that I had colored with markers, and I just love how vibrant the colors are that you get with markers, which just can't do with pencils. And so like, this is the result. It's like a mandala type thing. I'm not sure what way to hold it, what looks best. I don't know. But I freaking love this. Maybe, I don't know. There's not the right way to hold it. But yeah, I'm so obsessed with this. I'm so happy with how this turned out. So I want to share it. The reason it's like just a sheet instead of the thing is because it is, it's like the perforated thing that you can easily rip it out, because they're on both sides. And so if it's like the front, it's easy to just color it while it's in the book, but I think this was the one on the back, quote unquote, and so it's easier to like rip it out and color it separately. And I freaking love this. I'm obsessed. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. Those are all my updates, and I actually think that that's going to be the end of the video. I will finish To Avenge a Fallen Star in the next vlog. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so thank you for watching. In this vlog, I read Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and I started To Avenge a Fallen Stars but didn't finish it. So if you've read any of those two, please let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you again in the video. Bye. Hi, it's me in my pajamas. I know that I just finished the vlog, but I read some more of To Avenge Fallen Stars before bed, and I got about halfway, a little over halfway, and I just wasn't invested and I didn't care, and so I decided to DNF it. So, you know, the video ends with a bit of that, but with closure. So, now it's really done.